What's up, guys? Welcome back to the shop. Welcome back to the channel. You've got to forgive me for the echo in here because, my shop is pretty much wiped clean. We've got construction going on right now. But anyway, I've got a banger of an episode for you guys today. We are back on the Dirty Dodge, and good night of living. Do I have a mountain of parts we're going to install on him today? Let me flip you around and show you what we got. All right, so we got a new reconditioned 8 3/4 rear. We got a new set of rear springs. We've got some new shocks, and that brings me to today's video sponsor, which is going to be Canter Auto. I reached out to Canter and said, hey, look, I'm looking for all new brakes, all four corners of the 55 Dodge. Can you guys come up with some of those? And they're like, bet. We've got a complete master brake rebuild kit on the shelf. We're going to be more than happy to ship out to you. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. These guys sent me everything to redo the brakes on the Dirty Dodge. We've got new drums, new shoes. We've got new brake line. We've got, every single thing. New master cylinder, you name it. We're going to get all that put on in this episode. We might even get him down on all fours and get him to rolling around. We're just going to have to see what happens. But hey, you know what? We need to quit talking about it. We need to be about it. Welcome back to Busted Radio Garage. All right, guys. Well, first things first is we've got to get this old mounting hardware off of these old springs, get it cleaned up, painted, and then put over there on the new springs, and then mount it in the car. So I'm going to go ahead and start on this driver's side spring, get these all lubed up here right quick with the old cheap Rural King penetrating lubricant. Let it sit for a minute, and we're going to start pulling this apart. So yeah, let's get to doing it. Alrighty then. Now look, this stuff has been on here like 70 years. So this, we're going to have to probably get some heat, get these all tickled out of here, because we're going to have to put new bushings in and the whole smash, which is fine. I have those here. Had them here for a while. Those are actually pretty easy to get. All right, we got it all jizzed up. Let's get us a wrench. We're going to go ahead and get this mounting bracket off here right quick. We'll get it painted. While it's drying, we're going to go ahead and get these out and get new bushings installed. Get these mounted on the new spring, and then get the new spring put in the car. All right, let's give this a whirl. We're going to take it easy with it. Oh, like butter. Guess that old lube helped out a bunch. All right, well, let's get this painting cleaned up real quick. All right, let's throw some heat on these bushings and see if we can get these to come out of here. If not, we'll put them on the press. Just a tickle of heat. See if we can get them to move around a little bit. Oh, mercy. Good night. Yeah, we're going to have to press those out, I have a feeling. We don't want to jack up them threads because we are going to need those for sure. Well, I reckon let's get to pressing these out. I'll tell you what, let me get all these out of the springs, get them painted up, and then we'll touch back with you here in a second. All right, guys, after about an hour of torching, cutting, and beating, I was able to get all the old mounting hardware off these springs. And man, these things are just jacked. They're broke everywhere. Good night. And I'll tell you what, I'd like to have a conversation with the man who made this tape right here. This is the crap that was on my new springs. One piece of it, it wasn't too bad. But when it's layered over about 8 times, good night of living. That stuff, I'd like to buy some of that stuff. Anyway, so I've got everything out here set on boxes to go ahead and get painted. So I've got all the old hardware, the old brackets, and then the new springs have been wire wheeled down. We're going to go ahead and shoot them. Because you know the deal. If you're going to do it, you might as well go all the way, right? So I'm going to get all of this painted, and then while I'm doing that, or while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and get all these U-bolts cleaned up, get them polished back up. We'll get them ready to paint, and get these bolts all cleaned up so we can reuse those. And then we should be able to mount these springs. Good deal. All right, let's lay some color down. Oh, yeah. Get these all nice and shiny. I know somebody probably think this is crazy painting something that's underneath the car that you'll never ever see, but I'll know it's there. I'd like to make sure it's, somewhat nice anyway. Again, if you're going to do it all the way. All right, let's get to painting all this. All right, guys, you know I'm a table nerd, so I got everything brought in here. It's good and dry, set on the table. All the hardware is with all the pieces where it goes. So we're gonna go ahead and get all this mounted in the Dirty Dodge right quick, and then we're gonna keep moving forward. So let's get under here and let's get to work. All right, let's get spring number 1 set up in here. Well, I probably should have done this the other way. It's all right, we'll make it work. Don't want to scratch up all my new paint. Ha! Like that's going to matter. You know this thing's going to get burned out in the first minute we get going. Alright, let's set this up in here. Come on. Alright, there's spring number 1. So let's get some bolts in this for this thing decides to fall. We don't want to replace these for the love of God. They were not cheap. They were not cheap. Just get a couple on the top to hold it in place for now so we can check our center and make sure we're good to go. We should be fine. I mean, you know how should-be's are. I've been should-be'd a lot and it didn't work. Come on, get in there. You know you want to go home. All right, there's 2. See how we're going to line up here. Stay. I don't know. I'm going to have to get one up in there. It doesn't look very centered to the wheel well, but I mean, I'm in here, can't tell, but I think we're going to be all right. So I'm just going to go ahead and we're just going to full mount them and be done with it, and whatever happens, happens. So let me get these fully mounted. I'll check back with you in a minute. Oh, yeah. Here's our nipple where our rear end's going to sit. And that is nuts. Dang near perfect. Now these are going to flex a little bit too, right? Because they're brand new. So once we get everything set up, we'll go ahead and get our rear end in here. But I'm going to go ahead and fully mount these real quick. But yeah, that's perfect. Man, them things look dinky for a car this big. But they're 5. So yeah, all right, cool. Let's keep going. All right, both springs are hung in the rear, so let's get this down on the ground. Let's get our rear end up in here. All right, come on, little buddy. Let's get you moved over here. Get somewhat centered up. Don't do what I'm doing at home, for the love of God. Don't do what I'm doing. I'm an idiot. Scratch my paint. I doubt it, but it sounded cool. Let me get in here. All right. Come on, buddy. There you go. Stay up here. Stay up here. Let's get you up here. This spring, I'm going to paint it black. Come on, buddy. You don't want to go home. You don't want to go to your home. Everybody wants to go home. I want to go home. All right, come on. Good boy. All right. Let's get you out of here. We'll get him up in the air and get him on his perches. Stay. All right, guys, there we go. After some engineering here and a big old bunch of elbow grease, I was able to get these things set on the springs. Good night. That's a pain in the rear by yourself. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get the U-bolts and all that installed to get this somewhat about 90% of the way tightened down to where it's going to hold everything in place. And then we'll get a stand underneath the rear end, raise the lift, and then lower the lift onto the stand and push this rear end up against its points here and get everything bolted down, and then we'll final tighten everything. But yeah, that looks really good underneath there, man. Everything is just super clean, super straight. Heck yeah, can't complain about that. Then we'll get our shocks put on. All right, let's get to work. All right, U-bolts installed. Good deal. Let's get this thing up in the air We'll get a jack underneath the rear end, lower the lift down, force all of this up. We'll go ahead and get it mounted up there. And then, you know, we'll kind of loosen this, get everything like exactly where we want it. Final tighten it. All right, good deal, guys. So I got my stand here. Essentially what I did is just lowered the rear end down on the stand, which pushed everything up. So we got everything kind of lined up here. So we're gonna go ahead and put our brackets in, all our bushings, get this tightened down. And then I think we're gonna move on to the brakes. So let's get this done right quick. Good deal, guys, there we go. Got everything final mounted. Now I did remove the rubber bushings that they sent with the springs. I like these Prothane bushings from Energy Suspension. As you guys know, they were a sponsor of the channel there for a while, but got both sides dialed in. We are good to go. So the next thing I guess I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna go ahead and install these new shocks, get them dialed in, go ahead and run our brake lines across the back of the rear. And then we're gonna go ahead and install the new shoes, the whole smash, everything brand new on here. And then we'll get the new drums installed. And then we're gonna go ahead and show you guys the new wheels, because I'm gonna have to mount the wheels on the back here, and then I'm gonna have to move everything up to the front and take it all apart, get it all painted and cleaned, and then the underneath of this car will be 100% like brand new. So yeah, this is coming along nice. I can't complain, and I cannot wait to show you the engine for this car. There has been some changes, and then we're gonna get this thing on the road. Good deal, Lucille. Let's go back to work. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get these shocks, get these installed right quick. Funny enough, the only place I could find the shocks for this car, unless you wanted to spend like an absolute ton of money on like the old vintage shocks. But anyway, I found these at Napa, of all places. It's the only place I could find them other than, again, on the internet. And these weren't too bad. I think they were $100 for the pair. And if you wanted the old vintage style, they were like $500-600, which was insane for a set of shocks. That wasn't happening. So anyway, let's go ahead and snag up on these real quick. If I can get them in my mitts. Let's go over and get these installed up under here right quick. This car is gonna look so nice. I mean underneath, I'm not changing the body. We're gonna tighten some stuff up a little bit, but yeah, we're not changing the looks of it. I think it's gonna look sick. Oh, good night. All right, there we go. Let's get the other one installed, and I'll show you guys what it looks like here in a second. All right, guys, there we go. New shocks installed. We are good to go on them. All right, so I guess the only thing left we can do right now is we're gonna go ahead and rebuild these back brakes, get our new brake lines run, and then we're gonna go ahead and mount our new tires. So let's go ahead and get these brakes done and out of the way. I cannot wait to see these new wheels and tires on here. I think they're gonna look sick. But anyway, let's get back to work. All right, guys, there we go. All new brakes for our drum brakes. I want to thank Canter Auto for sponsoring today's video and sponsoring the brakes for all four corners of this car. Absolutely perfect quality. Cannot complain a bit. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can get our new drums on here. We're going to mount these rear wheels. All right, guys, let's try our hubs out here. Oh, money. Boom. Well, let's throw this washer and this castle nut on here real quick, and we're gonna try one of our new wheels. Let's get after it. All right, guys, these look sick on here. Now, obviously, I gotta lower the car back down, get it on the ground, get the weight settled down. But anyway, when I chose these wheels, I wanted a little bit of old with a little bit of new. I didn't want to go straight Kragers because that's kind of like, in my opinion, they're just overused on everything, right? But anyway, check these out. Boom, get you some of those. Got a little bit of the old school Krager look with the chrome lip. I started to go like white letter tires, and then I started to go white walls, and I'm like, you know what? I think we're gonna go plain Jane black walls on there. Let me get you a step back here so we can take a look at it. Now, obviously the car isn't sitting on its own weight yet, so I'm thinking the fender wells are gonna come down to about right here. So you're only gonna see maybe 2/3 of the tire, half of that tire there. And then obviously for the front. So we gotta get all this tore apart now, get it cleaned, get it painted, get all new brakes put up there by Canter. Thank you very much for them sponsoring this episode. You're gonna have to catch that next time, because good night of living. It has been a long few days down here. I gotta get my shop cleaned up. We got a couple events and a couple shows coming up here in the next few days. But anyway, you guys know the deal. I love you. I appreciate you watching. I'll catch you next time. BRG out.